Hello everybody and welcome back to the Travel Gene. This is another review, just a small one because I encountered some difficulties while I was developing a chapter for a book that's coming out. And I just wanted to share it with you because I Googled everything and looked at YouTubes and I just could not find an answer to my dilemma. And I, of course, happened upon it by accident and was able to figure out what exactly the problem was and why I couldn't resolve that issue. So I thought that I would take the time and explain it to you. It's very straightforward, very simple. It's just one of those head cracker things, that drive you crazy and that you'll find yourself looking for hours and hours to try and find a solution. And you always find something that's along those lines, but not actually responding to the question that you're posing. So without further ado, let me explain the problem. As I was writing the chapter, I had included my editor wanted some in-text citations, which is pretty easy to do automatically using the software from Word, Microsoft Word. However, when I did insert those in-text references, it put a check mark next to the reference in the reference list. I'll show you soon exactly what I mean. But the problem was, if I wanted to add a new title, it was becoming a little bit complicated, okay? It was making things a little bit more difficult to add a title and use that title, okay? So I'm not really a big fan of in-text citations. I prefer endnotes and footnotes, much easier for me. I prefer endnotes, in fact. It's a little bit like a second reference list, if you would. Always bear in mind that if you're writing something, academically, it's always a good idea to only include those references that you're actually reading and you're actually citing, or that you're actually paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is actually a better term because when you're writing, if it's an academic thing, for example, they want to know that you understood the material that was being presented by the initial author and that you're actually able to reparaphrase his sentiments, his ideas, his opinions, his viewpoints and perspectives in your own language. And this is a great tip for those out there of you who are university students as well. I mentor university students, and I supervise PhD and master level candidates. So one of the things that I always emphasize is be sure to put the expressions in your own words. Okay, there's nothing more boring than to see a paper that's filled completely with citations from other people, and it shows a lack of understanding on the first hand, and on the other hand, it shows a lack of insightful cognition on the part of the author on the other. Okay, so without further ado, let's get back into the main issue that we had here, a technical issue, okay? And here we are. Okay, so as you see here, I've cited General Rupert Smith in my book, and you can see here that says Smith 2008. Now, if I look up here and I go to Manage Sources, you'll see that Rupert Smith has a check mark next to it. Now, these other ones I've already taken care of, so I can just click on them and delete, click on that, and delete from my list, from my current list. But if I click on this, I can't delete it. So I was in a total huff on how to actually go about doing that. So we come back to Smith's citation here, and we click on it. And you can see there's a drop-down arrow here. You click on that drop-down arrow, you look here, and it says, Convert citation to static text. That is your secret. That is your secret. It wasn't so evident. Now, another thing that I wanted to point out while I have you here is if you wanted to add page numbers, you see here, you have Edit Smith. I can't really add the page numbers here. Well, I guess I could. Okay, but usually it causes me problems when I try to do that. But you can do that by editing the citation, and it'll be a pop-up box that tells you the page numbers. And let's say you want page 181 to 184. 184, you just click that and you go, okay, and it pops right into your citation nicely and even uses the PP, which means multiple pages, right? So now if I use Control Z, let's see if that disappears, and indeed it does. Control Z will send it back to the way it was previously. It's a nice shortcut. Okay, so I click on here, and I'm going to change it now to convert to static text. All this does is it takes away that automated box that was around it, okay? So now we're going to go back up to manage sources. And if we look at manage sources, and of course the check mark has indeed disappeared. So I click on poor General Smith, and we're going to delete General Smith, but he is kept in the main list of resources and references, okay? So that's a very handy thing. Now, in 2023 or under Windows 11, you can now save your list of references, and I highly recommend this because I have lost references in the past. You can actually save those, and I'll do another video eventually on that, how to save and import and export your references. Takes care of our problem. That takes care of our problem, and we're all set to go. Continue writing, continue finishing up this chapter, which is due in February, mid-February. So I have a lot of research to do, as your books are just starting to pile up enormously for this particular research project here. I like to keep my books close to hand so that I can reference them as I need to, and I'm reading through them. Another thing that I do, and it might be helpful to some of you out there, that I know this is a little bit off topic, but I always highlight, always. My wife says I'm destroying my books, and I respond to her, no, darling, I'm not destroying them. I'm enhancing them. I'm enhancing the books. So basically what I do, as you can see here, I use highlight and I use pencils to add my own specific notes, okay? So I add specific notes that are of interest to me. And one of the things that I do, and I like this technique, is I put down CP1. That means citation point 1. It's something that I found particularly relevant to the book, and it's matched up, of course, with a highlighted section. Now, those sections that are significantly important, besides the citation points, and which are also citation points, I underline them in red ink just to catch my eye. And then what we have down here is a most vital reference point. Okay, so it's a most vital reference point. MVR would be a most vital reference. Okay, so it's just things, as you can see here, citation point 2, citation point 4, citation point 3, in chronological order, okay? Hope that will prove useful to some of you. Please be sure to give us a like if it's helpful. If it's not helpful, I don't know what to tell you. But thank you for visiting, and I'll be adding more content, hopefully on a more regular basis. It's very difficult for me to balance work-life, family balance, and everything, and keep going. Okay, so have a great day. Look forward to speaking to you again shortly. This is me signing off from the Travel Gene.